Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the first topic of Unit 1, definition of economics. So we'll first discuss with the introduction of economics. Okay. What is economics and where is it actually used, or are we the part of it, or it is the part of our daily routine or daily life? Okay. So economics is actually a study of human activity, both at individual level as well as the national level. Now you will ask how this is even possible, how individual level is in the interest of national level. Okay. So basically we'll start with what was the first impression of economics. Okay. So the first idea of economics was it was just the science of wealth. Okay. And the reason for it is very clear because of money is involved. Then what are the activities which are involved which makes it to look at? Okay. Okay. What are the economic activities? Okay. So every one of us is involved in various activities of earning money and spending money. Now where do we spend the monies? For food, clothes, shelter, and other such activities. These all activities of earning money and spending money are termed as economic activities. Okay. Now, how do we jump into, or how do we indulge into these activities? Because the fundamental problem of economics is that things are scarce. Means these things are not enough. There is a demand because the sources are not enough. Okay. This means that our wants almost always exceed the resources available for their satisfaction. Okay. I'm repeating this again. This means that our wants, the demands, are always exceeding the resources available for their satisfaction. Now, all economic analysis begins with scarcity, the demand. If there was no scarcity, there would be no need to economize. If there were no need to economize, there would be no time to examine how it was done. So there would be no need for economics by default. So this particular economics subject tells us how to make best utilization of limited resources, because demand may not end, but the resources are going to end. Okay, so that's why the best utilization of the limited resources is what is we can call the economics. So economics, in other words, is the science of solving the problems of scarcity, shortage. We'll discuss some important terms here. Okay. First, scarce resource. Scarce, we already know it is the shortage. Okay. The scarce resource is one for which the demand at zero price would exceed the available supply. Okay. What is it? A scarce resource is one for which the demand at zero price would exceed the available supply. Okay. The scarce is already shortage. Okay. Even at the price of zero, the available supply will not be sufficient enough to satisfy the demand. That particular source is This particular resource is called as the scarce resource. That is, for this particular resource, there is the demand. Now, second one we'll discuss the distribution of income. Distribution of income in a country tells us how income is divided between different groups or individuals, or we can also say that different part of society. Okay, the distribution of income. Third is the scarcity, the excess of human wants over what it can actually be produced to fulfill these wants. There are some demands for some goods or some services. Okay, we are all surrounded by different goods and services, but still we as a human, we want something else. We want something more than the already available resources. That particular wants, which is in excess for as compared with what it is actually being produced. Okay, that particular gap we can call it as the scarcity. Next is the consumption. The act of using goods and services to satisfy wants. The act of using goods and services to satisfy wants it is consumption. This will normally involve purchasing the goods and services. We have just seen the scarcity, okay, the gap of the wants and the supply, and consumption is the utilization of that particular goods and services through purchasing. Next is the production. The transformation of inputs into the outputs by firms in order to earn profit or meet some other objectives is production. Okay, this is a very technical definition for the production, but in general, the idea behind production is to provide or to supply what what is being what is being wanted or what is being demanded. That particular goods and services has to be supplied or produced. That is what we call the act of production. Now what happens in that particular act of production, there is certain inputs which are being transferred to the outputs. The raw inputs it transformed into the finished goods or services through any firm or organization or the group of people in order to meet the objective of satisfying the needs or the scarcity or to earn the profit through this particular act. This is about production. Next is the factor of production or the resources. What it will be? The goods and services, labor, land, raw materials, and capital. What are these? These are all acts as the inputs to the production. What we call them as the factors of production or resources for the production. Next one is the labor. All forms of human input, both physical and mental, into current production of goods and services is termed as labor. The human efforts, either in the physical form or in the mental form, the mental support or mental input in the current production of goods, different goods and services is called the labor. Next one is the macroeconomics, the branch of economics that studies economics aggregates on a larger scale. Aggregate demand, the total level of spending the economy. The economy is basically based on two terms. One is the demand and one is the supply. Last, the next one is the microeconomics. This branch of economics that studies individual units, for example, household firms or industries. It studies the interrelationships between these units in determining the patterns of production and distribution of goods and services. Okay. So we already know one is the macroeconomics, one is the microeconomics. Macro is the study of economic aggregates on a larger scale, but the microeconomics is about the studies of individual economic activities. Now, individual means individual is also maybe the unit of one person or a group of person or the household firm or the larger industry. Okay. Next, positive economics, which deals with the objective or scientific explanation of the working of economics. Normative economics offers us the recommendation based on the personal value judgment, because everybody has the different perception about how they could earn the money and how they could spend the money. Okay, and that recommendation based on the personal values and judgment is normative economics. Command economy. A command economy is a society where the government makes all the decisions about production and consumption. There is some command force, a commanding force for this particular economy. What is that commanding force? Government. So government is actually planning offices or mm, deciding some policies, how the production of certain goods and services should be in the country and how that will be distributed all over the country. Next is the mixed economy. In a mixed economy, the government and private sector interact in solving economic problems. See, the government controls a significant share of output through taxation, transfer payments, and provision of goods and services, such as defense and police force. It also regulates the extent to which individuals may pursue their own interest. So one economy is command economy, that some commanding force is there. One is the mixed economy where the significant share of government is there. Also, there is a significant share of individual. as an individual person or as an individual firm or industry. Collectivism. Collectivism is the study where economic decisions are taken collectively by planning committees and implemented through directions of resources, either centrally or at local levels. This particular branch of economics takes the decision by collectively taking the decisions from planning committees and different resources by the centrally or the local level of resources. Next factor of this managerial economics or in general economics is also the land. For the economic activities, land is very, very important or it shares the major role. So land may be defined as all the free gifts of nature. This is a particular definition of land, but its importance in the economics is it's unprecedented. It cannot be challenged. The importance of land. Next is the capital, is the stock of wealth existing at one particular time. Capital is all the goods which are used in the production of further wealth. Okay. So what areas this particular economics covers? It covers this. So we have seen that what is economics? Economics is the activity, economic activity of purchasing any different goods and services by spending money and different activities through which we earn the money. Okay. So these activities also covers these following areas: study of price of labor, capital, and land. So economic activities, we already know is the very important. Capital is the stock of wealth at one particular time, and labor is the human input, human efforts. Okay, the price of this, okay, the study of price of this is the one of the important areas of the economics. Next one is the which explores the behavior of financial market, because that is we have already we always heard about this particular news that the market is completely fluctuating. Sometimes it is roaring high and sometimes it is very deep low. Okay, so this behavior of financial market is what is the study of economics. It also considers this study. Next one is that it analyzes the consequences of government regulation on market efficiency. Mar- Market is fluctuating to different types of news. Any new project is being awarded to, so any company or any new policies are produced in the market by the government. So these all news are affecting the financial market on good or bad ways. So this particular fluctuation of the economics is also considered under these areas. Now, next one is examines the distribution of income. That one we have already seen, the distribution of income throughout the society. Next one is which examines the patterns of trade. Now, trade is the financial activities or the economic activities of earning and spending. Okay, this particular trade is give and take of different types of goods and services. Now, how people changes their behavior depending on what kind of financial situations they face, those we call them as the patterns. So, as we know, there are seasonal changes in the market that we could observe. We are the part of it. And those patterns, observing those patterns, few companies may introduce their new products to the market and earlier products may be eliminated from the market. Okay, these are the areas under which the economics is distributed. So there are different definitions of the economics that you could see. Okay, let's just see this one. The economics is the study of how societies use scarce resources to produce valuable commodities and distribute them among different people. Another definition by Adam Smith is economics as the study of nature and uses of national wealth. That is also a definition proposed by the Adam Smith. One more definition, one more very popular definition by Alfred Marshall is economics is the study of man's action in the ordinary business of life. It inquires how he gets his income and how he uses it. Okay, so this gives us the very basic idea about what the economics is. Economics is actually a branch of science which deals with the economic activities. Those activities are nothing but earning and spending money. Okay, now spending money on what kind of activities one spends money to get some benefit in the longer term, or which one utilizes for the temporary pleasures. Thank you for this lecture. We'll see in the next lecture.